It's just about 8 minutes before the hour of 7 o'clock on this Tobago Thursday. Welcome back to the Now Morning Show. I'm Kimberly De Souza. Now, Natasha and Kid, I'm not sure if you guys saw it, but the Prime Minister is in the U.S. and he went to Capitol Hill yesterday.
Yeah, I saw. It's quite fascinating to see how we're, connecting throughout the world.
Yes,
but I didn't get all the details. So, do you have any insight?
So basically, he went to Capitol Hill. He spoke to some members of the U.S. Congress. They were talking things like foreign policy, national security, and of course the energy industry, because I know that the minister in the office of the Prime Minister, Mr. Stuart Young, also accompanied him on this visit to the U.S. And I know that today the meetings actually continue because he's supposed to be meeting with some U.S. lawmakers today as well. So it is a full thing. I know initially he had said that he was going to change the face of the banking industry and how people think about the Caribbean banking industry, and so I know other topics in terms of national security will obviously come up. I know we also have strong ties with the U.S. as well, so of course it's also going to be strengthening those ties as we move forward. So there's going to be a lot of discussion that's going to be taking place with the Prime Minister and the U.S. leaders. But on the line with me right now, I have Mr. Curtis Douglas. Mr. Douglas is the president of the All Tobago Fisherfolk Association, and we're going to be talking about how the reduction in the fuel subsidy and the resultant increase in fuel prices are affecting the fisherfolk in Tobago. Mr. Douglas, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us on Now.
Yes, good morning to you and your team. Good morning. Good morning to Trinidad and Tobago and the wider public.
Now, Mr. Douglas, right away, I wanted to get your thoughts on the reduction in the fuel subsidy and that fuel increase. I mean, how has it been impacting the fisherfolk in Tobago?
Well, I must say I am not happy. The fisherfolk in Tobago are not happy about the way things is done and how it is increased. Because what happens now to Tobago, you are now seeing Tobagoans are now paying a higher price in fish, for fish. For example, normally what we used to pay $160 for a jug, we have to pay now $320 for a jug. So that means we have to go further. So we have to spend more. So that cost now will now have to come back to the people who are buying, the consumers. So it is really affecting us, and we are really, really, really mad about this because, one, they didn't even give us a chance. They didn't give us a chance. And we are calling for rebate. We want gas rebate on gas subsidies because the diaspora in Tobago is different. We used 99% of the fishing of the fish catch that come to Tobago comes through pirogues. We don't use diesel.
Well,
and even in diesel is high.
Right. So, Mr. Douglas, let's just unpack what you've said thus far, because I do have a question about the rebate. But before we get into that, you're saying that the fisherfolk, they don't use diesel. Is it kerosene that the fishermen use?
No, they use gas. They use gas, petrol.
Okay,
We use petrol, gas.
Petrol, gas,
yes,
okay.
super gas.
Right. And you were talking about the jug. Was the jug that you're referring to the amount of gas that it takes to fill the engines right now?
The amount of gas we use.
Right.
Yes, the amount of gas we use. So now we are in a position where we going, imagine we are going 40, 35 miles to catch fish, and we have so many other challenges, all right? So when you spend over $1,000, so now it would be almost $2,000 to go that distance, right? To come back, how we expect us to survive? Like they're trying to kill the fishing industry in Tobago and Trinidad.
Now, Mr. Douglas,
because that is what's happening right now.
Now, Mr. Douglas, you mentioned that the customers will have to absorb that cost. I mean, what kind of prices can we see on fish now?
We are talking now from $25 to $35 to even $40 a pound. Imagine Tobagoans are being paid $35 to $40 a pound. The average rate for fish was willing to go was 25. Now we're forced to 30. And in some places it's going to be 40 and 45. How they expect the people of Tobago to cope with that?
Now, Mr. Douglas, sorry?
Yes, carry on.
You finished? I was just about to ask, because you're saying $40 or $50, but what type of fish is most demanded in Tobago? And for example, can the fishermen, catch, some other fish that might be cheaper for the customers?
Well, let me explain what happened to you. What happens, right? Yes, there is a sort of flying fish. But even with the flying fish, the government of Trinidad and Tobago saw it fit to have Bajans come into our waters and catch our flying fish. for over 3 years now, we're struggling to catch flying fish, right? So they have bigger boats, so they stay out longer, so they hoard the flying fish. So right now, as we speak, there's a fleet over 20 Bajan boats in our waters. It's CARICOM. The government of Trinidad and Tobago allow it. So how are we going to compete with them? How are we going to compete with them? We are not getting any incentive to bring in bigger boats or to say, well, taxes off it for Tobago. Nothing was structured. No meeting, anything was take place to develop the fishing industry. But what we see, right, is that gas prices keep going up and up. And to speak to the type of fish, yes, kingfish, dolphin, snapper, redfish, bonito. These are some of the main fish that we strive on. And these fish carry a hefty price. And these are just the basic fish. We're not talking about anything that exotic. These are just the basic fish. So it's very difficult to get into, to even catch a flying fish, much less to even pass it on to the consumer. That is a challenge. That is the challenge. And no one took the time to consider fisher folk, because everything we have to do is gas concentrated, everything. When we, from going to sea, from our vehicles, transporting it to the vendors, it's a whole downstream, and we are totally annoyed about that decision.
Now, Mr. Douglas, I know coming out of the Easter season, we normally see an increase in prices for fish. I mean, was that enough to cover what we are seeing now?
Let me explain something to you. Price increase for fish, there's only be in Trinidad, okay? When we have Easter or whatever, we maintain a steady price in Tobago, okay? So for Easter coming up here, they was paying $30 and some even paid $35. So there was no really price increase. We try to maintain that structure in Tobago. So you'll find Trinidadians coming up from Tobago, buying the fish and quite down. Obviously, there would be a price increase because they're taking Tobago fish and sending it to Trinidad, so it will increase. So you'll find fish going to be for $50 and $55 a pound because the wholesaler have to make something.
Now, Mr. Douglas, that increase that you're saying that the customers may have to absorb, I mean, has it come into effect already, or when can we look forward to that?
As from the 19th, we have no other choice. We have no other choice. The fisher folk in Tobago have no other choice more than to raise the price. And it's about time the government took time off to listen to the people that are most affected by this. Because you're raising gas, right? Where does that subsidy money goes? It goes into what? A building or developing something, or for the fishing community, or for the agriculture, or whatever. It's very difficult. We're really, really, really annoyed about this. And we don't know what to do anymore, because here what? We don't believe in protesting and burning tires or whatever, but we believe dialogue can solve everything. So I'm saying when the Prime Minister, the Honorable Prime Minister say that is fair, fair on whose behalf? Not fair on the consumers, not fair on the Tobago fishing diaspora, not fair on the average businessman who's trying to make a living. Everything keep going up. So if they raise gas, obviously the price of fish will have to go up, and other commodities, basic commodities that we need to live on, salaries are not going up. Fishermen have no salaries more than what we charge for our fish. We barely making it. We might have to start to import fish.
Now, Mr. Douglas, earlier you mentioned the gas rebates. Just tell us a little bit about that. Is that going to help the fishermen? And if in fact you do get the gas rebates, can we see a reduction in the prices when that occurs?
Well, right. So what's going to happen with the gas rebate? Once they work alongside with all ATFA, which is all Tobago Fisher Folk, we'll ensure that the suitable people get the gas rebate, because we will know who is authentic or not. So we are willing to partner with the government or the THA to ensure that we have the gas rebate. So what the gas rebate is going to do will now be able to monitor and give back something, so that once we get a rebate, we could then resend that price from 30 to 25, so that we could pass that rebate back on to the consumer, to the people, the poor people and the consumer of Trinidad and Tobago. So that gas rebate will really, really do make a difference. It will, because if we complain about the prices of gas and we have the rebate, so that means it will be easy for us to ensure that that pass on back to the fisher folks and to the consumers. So at least we'll have a fighting chance.
And Mr. Douglas, final question. I mean, in addition to the increase in the fuel prices, what are some of the other challenges that the fisher folk in Tobago face?
Well, apart from that, we face, whereby in Tobago now, we have oil companies really exploiting our natural minerals. So when they come like BHP and all of them, they come and they say we have to stay 500 meters and they hoard all of these fish around them. And it's not by law, the 500 meters. So now we are even challenged with that, and also with global warming, and we have illegal fishing. I think the last time I heard somebody from the United States saying they recorded how much millions of dollars of illegal fishing in Trinidad and Tobago waters. So these are some of the challenges. These are the challenges what we are facing. So it's not only just the gas rebate, it's other corporate industries that is making it difficult for we to feed our people and for us to feed our families. And some of these corporate people are not willing to work alongside the fisher folk. They are the big boss, and they just come and roll and push aside fisher folk. So these are some of the challenges, some of the main challenges that we have. Even though when we try to dry fish, so even when we do smoke fish and try to preserve that, it carries a high cost. But we really need the government to rescind that gas rebate, especially for the fisher folks. For the fisher folk, it's pure gas we use. Our life depends on that. And all of these oil companies are saying, oh, they have big fines and everything is so cool. They're taking all the minerals from our environment and nothing has been passed down to the fisher folk or to the people of Tobago. And that's the challenge.
Yeah. Mr. Douglas, final thoughts before we close. You have about 1 minute left.
Yeah. So, well, we are asking the government that in power, you must consider, and you talk about public partnership. What happened? Are they afraid to sit and dialogue with people to ensure, because they are the biggest public servant, they are there to represent the people, and decisions should be there to help the people, not to help the economy on numbers. The people is who you are there to represent. So I'm saying, look, the fisher folks is complaining, the taxi drivers are complaining, the farmers are complaining. Something is wrong. So we need to address that. And we are hoping that they would give the fisher folk, especially in Tobago, that we get our gas rebate. All the natural minerals is coming from our industry. We are the biggest stakeholders there. So all these corporate people and all the government and all the studying, I ain't saying who's saying 1%. I'm saying rethink, sit and meet, and let's treat with this and let's solve the problem. You don't want any sort of violence or protest or fire. We don't want that. We are a civilized country. We are civilized, and we could lead by example. We can lead by example. So let's sit and let's have this rebate so the poor people in Trinidad and Tobago could still have that main staple on their plates and also keep jobs. Because without this, people are going to quit fishing and get into other things. And we don't want that. We are the best country in the world, in my opinion, and let's work together to build a better Trinidad and Tobago and a better industry.
Nice. Mr. Douglas, thank you so much for joining us and just sharing what the Tobago fisher folk has been going through since the announcement of the reduction in the fuel subsidy, of course, and the increase in the fuel prices. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much and your company. Thank you.
You're on the Now Morning Show. This is where we take a break and we'll be right back. But stay with us because we do have birthday greetings next.